Welcome to FTB Weekends. It is Saturday, the 8th of October. Wow, Halloween month. It's 12:08 p.m. Eastern, in case you want to know when we're recording this, in case things change. I'm, of course, Jason C. McLean, and welcome, as always, Dawn McSweeney. Welcome, Dawn. Oh, I have to unmute you. I have to request. There we go. Hold on. Dawn's on. Welcome,
Hello.
Dawn. Hello. Yes. Technology, ain't it grand? Okay, so well, technology is grand, but what some people are also saying is grand, is, and we're going to get to Quebec election in just a bit, but is what the President of the United States, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr., I think this is his full name, Joe Biden, said that he's going to pardon like thousands of people, any federal convictions for possession of marijuana. And he's also saying he's asking he's encouraging governors to do the same with state level convictions.
Yeah, I think it paves the way.
Yeah, and also he's also asking the not the FDA, the Department of Justice, basically he's trying to get have them look into the classification, how it's classified as a Schedule A narcotic, which is the same as I think cocaine and heroin, and actually worse than fentanyl. That's where it's classified. Now he's asking them to look at the classification. Well, I mean, I think it's pretty good. I think what I find is interesting is the fact that true to Canada, we legalized it outright, but we didn't think about pardoning any of the people who had been convicted with it.
Yeah. Can we get on that?
Yeah, well, it's surprising that quote unquote Sleepy Joe is the one who got there first. Like the guy who probably, I think, even passed some laws to strengthen the war on drugs back when he was a senator. Like,
yeah, so I wonder it's some paying back of necessary karma, which is really cool, and I'm glad that it like, what can you say? I'm glad that it happened.
Yeah,
and kind of like I don't understand why we haven't done it.
Yeah, and only Nixon can go to China, sort of thing. Maybe like, I mean, only Joe Biden, who probably never smoked a joint in his life. I mean, Obama did, Clinton did, but like, I don't think Biden's ever smoked a joint.
Hunter Biden's made up for that substantially.
Yes, Hunter Biden, the right wing's favorite talking point. Speaking by the, have you seen
he's the new Charlie Sheen. Like, I don't know what to tell you. He literally videos himself doing crazy shit. Charlie Sheen has been very low key since he came out with his HIV diagnosis. I think the partying is less so. But when I see like clips of Hunter Biden videos, I'm like, this is like, it's like old Tommy Lee. Like, let's.
But apparently there's the dank Brandon memes now on the internet.
I don't know what we're talking about.
Okay, because the basically there was, okay, you know, the whole "Let's Go Brandon" thing. Do you know that?
Yes.
Yeah, basically some race car driver was named Brandon.
Yeah.
People started going F Joe Biden.
Yes.
And he was like, what are they saying? Oh, they're saying "Let's go Brandon." So all the rights are like, huh, Brandon. But now I think the left have adopted Brandon for Joe Biden, and they're even saying there's now memes of dank Brandon, like Joe Biden with a joint and stuff like that.
Oh.
But of course, I mean, it is just before midterm elections, and it does have something that has 91% support in the U.S. Yeah, so it's surprising. Surprising they haven't gone there yet. And of course, the Republicans are going to try and demonize him because they do control a lot of the press. And the thing is, who knows how far he's going to go, if he's actually going to, if they're actually going to declassify it as a Schedule I narcotic. And if the thing is, a lot of the governors with most of the pot convictions are in states where that are controlled. A lot of the states with the most pot convictions are controlled by Republican governors.
When you say that, when you say that the right wing when you say that the Republicans are going to demonize it because they control some of the media, I think the fact of the matter is that the Republicans are going to demonize it because that's how a bipartisan system works. You demonize the actions of one another, whether or not you agree with them. Like,
yeah, well, here at least we don't have any pardons, but we did have a Quebec election, and oh yay. The CAC. Well, no, I wrote my opinion on it. Honestly, I was expecting the CAC victory. I wasn't expecting it so soon. I wasn't expecting it at 8:05 or whatever it was that I saw it. I thought it would at least take
they could have released the news the day before. Like, we all knew.
But it was too big a victory, and the fact that there was no real change in Montreal Island, that kind of annoyed me. I was expecting.
Yes, but it's also goes to show that once again, as the city of Montreal, our votes don't matter, and there's a problem with the way the elections are set up, and there's a problem with the way that that we're literally we not only does somebody is somebody speaking for the majority of their voters who are elsewhere, and so they're aiming their stuff at them. It's we have unequivocally said we don't agree with this, and we can't get out from under it. Like
Yeah, because
there's no way where you could say, well, Montreal can vote for somebody else because we're just stuck with it. But we've unequivocally said that the greater Montreal area doesn't believe you speak for us or care for us.
yeah. And the thing is, Montreal split like it always split. God, it split Liberals QS. It used to always split Liberals PQ, and that was fine when those two were the parties that were like dominating the discourse. But the thing is, the moment you get off the island, it's a sea of there's a
It's
map.
a whole other story.
Yeah, it's a sea of cack. But a sea of cack. Yes, but no, we'll go. We'll go. The thing is, I think it would obviously take people all getting behind one party, which might not happen for a while. And one thing though, is talking about the electoral system is Legault had promised in his run last time that he would change the electoral system. Of course, he didn't because he benefited from it.
That's
But
what
in
I'm saying.
three of the speeches, Nadeau-Dubois, Duhaime, and Saint Pierre Plamondon, they all were railing against especially Saint Pierre Plamondon, really railing against the electoral system. Now, I think it's a little rich for the PQ to have a problem with this electoral system that for like decades they were really benefiting from. But the other two definitely are correct, and he was correct too. It was a little funny to hear him say it.
But that's the fact of the matter, is that anybody who benefits from it, regardless of what they say, is just going to take advantage of it. I mean, you need a really noble politician to go in and change something that they benefited from because it's for the greater good, and nobility in politics is not something that happens much. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't think, but also I think it was you who pointed out that at some point Legault had said he was going to retire and he was only going to spend 10 years in government. He didn't
well,
want it to be his whole life, so this is his 10th year, so there's a chance that he would retire midterm. And somebody was saying, I read somewhere, like the CAC is basically built on him. And once he's out of the picture,
yeah. Well, I mean, it's like Duplessis when he died in office. The Union Nationale that had been in power for decades were routed the next election. So yeah,
sometimes it's a cult of personality, and it's just people rally behind one guy. Like I remember when Jack Layton was head of the NDP, and it looked like there was a possibility, you know? So
yeah.
it's
But
the
I
way it
mean,
is.
yeah, people like well, we'll get into the whole fact that people really didn't want Mulcair. They only wanted him because they thought he could win, and then when he didn't win, they got rid of him.
There
But
was no
that's
way he was gonna
yeah,
win. He's got to be a behind the scenes guy.
yeah. And the next okay, but during the election campaign, a little too late. You let me know this story I think on Saturday night, and that was when Radio Canada had it. The fact that Legault had been, and if this had come out on the 5 hours before the second debate, it would have been maybe affected the results. But the fact that Legault the Legault government had actually hired like a consulting firm to basically run their pandemic response, like they outsourced it and they didn't tell anyone.
To an
I
American
mean,
consulting firm, which is super cool because the American response was really effective. Um, yeah, and that so a lot of the decisions either weren't made by scientists, doctors, or politicians, or even if they were, they had to go through ostensibly this marketing firm, or this whatever it's called, advising firm, consulting firm.
but they
I
were
don't
also
know. That sounds like they have stylists and a Twitter campaign, not like they should have anything to do with a pandemic response.
well, the thing is, it's also seemed like it was privatization of healthcare to a certain extent because you're outsourcing to a private
I
company.
just
Like
wanted to,
that's
you know what's funny? So I was just talking the other day about this, and it's like if you Google private medical services in Montreal, you can have whatever you want if you pay for it. It's not that there isn't already a two-tier system. It already exists, and it seems like people just aren't aware of it.
well, the thing is, I mean, that honestly, like, I believe healthcare is a universal right. I don't think the fact that however much money I have should determine how much healthcare I can get. I haven't even really been to a doctor in a while. Like I'm not a regular healthcare
No, but that's the
user,
problem.
but
So
I
you
think it
don't
should be
see the
there for me.
flaws in it.
Yeah,
You don't see the flaws in the system right now, which is that the government has actually wrecked the whole thing and they haven't reformed it in any way. It's worse than it was before the start of the pandemic. And really, yeah, you would be faster to go to a private doctor and pay for it, and then go to a private clinic for your labs and shit and pay for that, and you would be
well,
better off.
as someone who probably doesn't have the money, and even if I did, on principle, I think it's wrong that you should pay for
100%.
something which is
But if your
which is
baby was sick and you did have the
yeah,
money, what would you
fair
do?
enough. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But that's the problem. That's the problem. But
This
it's
is the
like the same way of
problem.
like it's because like imagine when we used to have private fire departments. Like, no, that
But
is a
so
public service.
this
It's
is
a
the
road.
thing. So the people who
Yeah,
can afford it are already using the privatized system, and they're the ones with the money, and that tends to make them people whose vote matters more. And so it's funny because we, as people who wouldn't utilize private health services, are less aware that they exist, and we would be shunted over to the system that is broken and that the Legault government has been unable to fix. And here we are, we've got him again for some more years of him not being able to fix this system.
yeah. Well, yeah, it's really unfortunate. Like honestly, like I mean, and this is why honestly, I think maybe the mistake of the Canada Health Act was putting it in charge, putting the provinces in charge.
Yeah.
Like the fact that Legault could even say, "Hey, Quebec's independent." Like, no, you're not going to cover dental care under the healthcare system.
No,
When
and the crazy thing
yeah,
is they're just like, hey, Ottawa, send us more money. And it's like, what? So you could keep throwing it down this pit of a dysfunctional system. And it's not just Quebec, but it's particularly poignant in Quebec because there were promises made. And then there were excuses. And
yeah.
then he just
Well,
waved his way into the
this is
leadership again.
politics are very frustrating. What's not fun? You went to Pop Montreal. That was fun, right? You had a good time there.
Yes, that felt very normal and good. People were out, hipsters were out. It was a super good time. It was nice to see things being so normal, and yeah, it was a great festival. I intend to do it better next year. I learned a lot from trying to cover so many things at once, and I didn't even see a fraction of what there was to see.
Okay. That's good. It's good. Next year you're going to be a little bit more on the thing. Also, we have coverage. You covered some of that on our Twitter and on our Instagram. You
And
can
an
actually,
article, yeah.
yeah, you wrote an article too with your photos. Well, right now, if you follow our Twitter
Videos are on Forget the Box though, on the Insta.
on the Insta, yes. And by the way, okay, so yes, there's at Forget the Box on Instagram, at Forget the Box on Twitter. And if you follow that today on Saturday, James Gartler is going to be tweeting out cosplay pictures from Comic-Con New York. Ooh, we're in the States now. Yeah,
International.
international, yes. And you can follow Dawn McSweeney at McMoxie on Twitter and Instagram, me at Jason C. McLean on Twitter and Instagram. And if you're watching this on Facebook, follow Forget the Box, like, share the video. If you're on YouTube, smash that like button, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We also have an app on Android. You get that, and that's going to share with you the same coverage that we have, the same daily content. For that, you can always check out. You can check out forgetthebox.net, and we'll catch you next week for another FTB weekend.